for no reason other than to roll it.
All right. I think we're good now. Do you see those alerts now?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's make a promise.
I got a ding.
Let's make a promise. You and I. You promised to supply me with info about major coronavirus updates and a catalog of sick memes, pun is intended, and I'll promise to keep you informed of sickening attempts at government overreach during these times of crisis. All that coming up today on the Unframe of Mind show.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your hosts battle the forces of evil by lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls.
Yes, and welcome back to the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. We're your show for that highbrow ideas and lowbrow packaging. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Trewick.
I caught you in the middle of a drink.
Little drinky drink.
That's how pros do it, man. That's how the pros do it.
We literally just ate.
That's
and
right.
made our way in
That's
here.
Right. That's how we
now,
roll.
You've had beans, so I'm a little concerned about the small confined area that we're currently in.
It takes a while for it to kick in, so don't worry. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. At any rate. So today, so I've been spending some time. I know a lot of people are really hyper-focused on the coronavirus.
Spending some time? You got 2 weeks worth of time.
Yeah, well, as far as like on social media, it's like every post is a meme about it, a news story about it, a debunking of it. Can you believe such and such did this? Here's a great story about it. Everything. It seems to lead back to coronavirus in some way or another. And this show is no exception, so we're definitely helping add to that. But that's not really what we're trying to go for. So here's the thing. What I did notice is, like, you know what? I'm going to focus on specifically all of the attempts at government overreach during these times of crisis. Because we all know, those of us who are old enough, we know that time after time after time, when the chaos begins, that's when those dirty little politicians are in there going, hey, how can we screw these people over today? What right can we take away from them today? So that's kind of what the general plan is for tonight. We're going to cover a number of those types of things. So Ryan Milford, welcome to the chat. He says he likes condoms. He's on Facebook. If you guys would like to join the fun, hey, share it, talk to us, come chat with us. And guess what? Here's the deal. We don't have a phobismist for tonight. I
forgot.
I was so focused on the topic at hand that I completely spaced the phobismist. So,
or what the fuck I wish.
Or that.
Man, you are just not together with it today, are you?
It's not that as much as it's been. I've been busy still.
I know, yeah.
Like, good God. Stuff just never stops. Just because I'm at work 40 hours a week?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so if you have an idea for a phobismist segment or something that you would like to see us be offended by or attempt to be offended by and really shine and show our skills as professional phobismists, just go ahead and throw it in the comments section, and we'll go ahead and we'll try to be offended because that's how we do. All right. So, Ryan, he says, you've been off work all week and are so unprepared. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
I think you're more prepared when you are busy.
Yeah, I've actually been...
when you're working.
Well, right, when I'm working, because I at work, I'm not doing anything, so I'm just sitting here, I'm taking notes ahead of time, I'm planning the show, like, this is what we're going to talk about, these are the kind of things that... Yeah. Anyway, I ain't had time to do none of that. I've been doing vehicle repairs, home repairs, yard work, which we got halfway through before the bottom dropped out on us. Tennessee can't decide to make up its goddamn mind what it wants to do.
It'll be 80 degrees, I think, Friday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think it's 71 Thursday, and then just knocking on 80s Friday if nothing changes. So I guess we'll finish it then. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but look, my goal right now is to get the shop and the studio done. I mean, I got 2 weeks, so I've been really plowing into it. Been doing a lot of drywall mudding, doing a lot of sanding. Man, I tried to brush out my beard right before the show. You can ask Anthony. I'm sitting there like suffering, trying to get a comb to go through it after all that drywall dust was in it. And I put some oil in it and made it look all sexy for you guys. Like, that's how much I care. I put myself through fucking torture trying to make this show good for you guys the best I can. So bear with me if I'm a little underprepared.
I have no problems with my beard.
I know.
One of these days I'll grow up and have a beard.
Nah, don't worry about it. I think you look sharp, just clean, smooth shaven. You got a nice prominent chin.
Yeah.
Like, dude, look at this shit. Look, no chin.
No chin. Mm-mm. This is just more accessible for those who wish to ride.
All right. So we have a challenge. We have a challenge for tonight. We have to. Ryan was the first one to pipe up in the chats. He says, "Why are we offended by paved driveways?" That's a good question. So I guess we'll run the intro and see what we can come up with.
Sounds good to
off
me.
the bat.
Let's do it.
Faux business. Faux business. Faux business.
Okay, so today, I got this tip from a guy at work that I work with. He says this craziest stuff. He says, "Listen, I understand that paved driveways are hugely offensive, but I just can't quite put my finger on why." So I decided, we'll tell him why paved driveways are offended, and it's really an interesting story because I mean it used to be that old white guys used to be the ones that paved driveways. So I mean the only way to have a paved driveway is if you had it done by a white guy. Now they got a bunch of Mexicans do it.
Or you could be or it could be offended because cobblestone driveways are becoming more popular, and you got concrete driveways.
Yeah, I can understand why paved driveways are offended by cobblestone driveways, but that's why paved driveways are offended. See, here's the thing about this world you guys got to understand. This stuff is such a brain melt. It's like you got to go through these mazes of strange logical contradictions to try to come to some kind of conclusion as to why I am irrationally offended by everything.
If I was a concrete driveway, I would be offended by the fact that asphalt's a lot hotter.
Asphalt's very hot. I mean, have you got any other reasons why it would be offensive?
I don't know. It's the fact that it's black.
I mean,
what about white asphalt?
White asphalt. That's just rude.
What about just brown asphalt?
Oh, that's what I got it. The black asphalt paved driveways are offensive because when white men created it, they wanted it to be black so that people would walk all over them.
I like that. That's good.
See, it took me a minute. It took me a minute, but I got it.
Hey,
That's
not bad
why,
for thinking on our feet.
That's why paved driveways are offensive. So
you got some pussy at the door.
It's my cat.
it's
I wish it was pussy out the door. That'd be great. Of course, that'd be asking some questions. So
Bayonet,
back to the show.
Hey, good to see you back in the chats there, buddy.
All right. Hey, yeah.
I wonder
what's
if he's
up?
on that wheeze.
What's up, man? Yeah,
he's got a lot of time right now to be on that wheeze.
A lot of time and not a lot of money to purchase the wheeze. So maybe he'll actually contact us. You know what? I'd like to have old Bayonet on the show to figure out who the hell this guy or girl is.
Yeah, that would be great just to have them on.
It feels like a mystery viewer, almost like a peeping,
mystery shopper.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but more like a mystery shopper kind of has some power over my
He's
job.
like a peeping Tom, though.
Like he could go report us to the podcast commission and get us fired if he was a secret shopper. But I'm thinking more like a peeping Tom.
Yeah.
More like a hiding in the bushes outside my window when I'm getting my pajamas on at night. You know, that kind of.
It's
guy.
like Creepy Joe.
Yeah, like that. Exactly like that.
I don't know if he's going to sniff anybody, but
we're glad to have you anyway. All right, so what we wanted to cover tonight was basically this idea that you've heard of it if you've paid attention to politics any at all. Is this idea of sleight of hand? It's like the government's going to do one thing and keep everybody's focus and attention over here. Meanwhile, we'll be over here doing another thing and passing laws and registration laws and regulations that you guys would never agree to. You would never in 1,000 million years vote these kinds of things in. But we're going to do it anyway because you guys are freaked out. You guys are scared. And you guys are in this tizzy right now, unable to think clearly, and you're willing to let us pass anything. So we're going to do it.
I think it's kind of interesting that we haven't heard anything more about Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so Bayonet says, I stay hidden from the world, but I like a use guys. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
We try to put on the show just for you, to be honest. I don't think we have any other audience, do we? Maybe Ryan. But Ryan's got his own show, so he's really only here to try to get cross-promotion. You know, he just hopes that we'll mention his show. I forgot what his show's called.
Bass Fishing for Noobs.
I know, I'm just kidding. Oh. I was just trying to be a dick. All right, so here lately, I started a thread in Twitter, and if you aren't following us, you can head over to
You post a hell of a lot more than I do.
I like Twitter. I have a lot of fun with Twitter. So
I troll Twitter. I don't necessarily post anything, and for the ones that follow me know that I like to troll other people, especially politicians. It's great.
Right. So I started a thread. It's pinned to the top of my page right now. If you want to follow us, it's at Twitter. It's at Unframe of Mind on Twitter. And the idea is basically I want to create this thread to focus on all of the areas where government is overreaching, where they're attempting to overreach, and where they actually are taking strides to basically take away people's freedoms, their rights. And people seem to be perfectly okay with it. A matter of fact, they're super supportive of it. Case in point, not included in this particular one, but because this isn't about government overreach, this is about people's reaction to what they think should be happening right now. There was a story that I ran into in a local Facebook group recently. And basically the Facebook group, or the message was trying to call out this local pastor for holding church service during these times.
You talking about in Wilson County?
I'm talking about Mount
Juliet.
Not
yeah.
Mount Juliet, but
there is one in Mount Juliet that's doing that.
Maybe he is in Mount Juliet. I don't know. But I mean, anyway, he's still having church service. And I can understand a lot of people having their concerns about that. And maybe the individuals who attend the church deciding to go or not to go.
Right.
But what I did notice, there was a lot of people in the chat like calling this guy out, saying, I wish the National Guard would come in and arrest this guy and shut down his whole operation. And, some real extreme level type things that you wouldn't otherwise normally hear about unless people are freaked out.
Right.
And it's that kind of thing it's kind of that attitude that is giving the green light to our politicians to say, okay, they're ready. We stuck a fork in it. It is good. These guys are ready for us to pass anything right now. And those are the times they look forward to. A lot of times
we see the Democrats doing that right now with stimulus bill, so.
Well, yeah, as far as on a federal level, right. And you wonder, how is it these guys can, in the middle of a crisis, suddenly they're coming out with 1,400-page bills. Like, who's writing this stuff that fast? Well, that's just it.
It's always been there.
These things have already been written ahead of time, sitting in a corner, sitting in a file cabinet or whatever,
just itching to come out, and
they're waiting for these crisis moments to actually start to put them out into the public. And that's why you got 1,400 pages of pretty well written, already been passed through the legalese, already gone through the lawyers of making sure to word these the specific way they got to be, to make sure to make it as vague as possible, so that it's a mess. It's ridiculous.
Well, what it is once, like you said, once the population becomes fearful, you're more susceptible of being persuaded into believing something or thinking something is a good idea, because rationally you can't have that more of a understanding thought process. Right. Right. So now that's kind of what we're seeing with this. The stimulus package was just an example of that. So it's one of those things where I can sit here and butter something up real good, make it sound wonderful, and propose it in such a way that it sounds like it's really endearing for us to pass. And the problem is that nobody wants to read it or take the time to, because everybody's just fearful. And if I hear something that makes a lot of sense because I'm feeling this way about it, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah. Think about it.
Without even giving it a second thought, I'm going to be like, oh my God, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. The problem is people aren't taking the time to kind of research it because
exactly.
They're kind of afraid, and yeah, it's just it is crazy times we live in, man. I mean, it really is.
Think about it like this. Just what you were just describing. Think about it like this. You've got let's say I'm a kid and my parents have just decided to write a list of rules on the board. It's this big old huge chalkboard or blackboard or let's just call it a dry erase board. They've written them up there, and it's like, oh, these are the new rules. These are the new things that you have to abide by. You guys are allowed. We're gonna let you guys play 10 hours of video games a day. We're giving you $1,000 checks per month for allowance once a month, and we're also gonna go ahead and
who in the fuck are your parents?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hire you some strippers and shit, and we're you can call them over no more than twice a day, to come and dance for you, that kind of thing. And that's all written, and it looks great, and it's all drafted out, and it looks, they've, mom's even gone and putting little squiggly, designs in the corners to, make it look.
But it's what's on the back of that dry erase board that you're not seeing.
Exactly. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. So you take that, that dry erase board and you flip it over, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, oh wait, you guys can never leave the house. Your all the windows will be locked from the outside.
All the stores are going to close early.
Yeah,
you don't have access to X, Y, and Z.
We're only going to serve you a single type of meal every day for the rest of your life. It's probably going to be something you don't like and would never approve of in the first place. Oh, and we're going to go ahead and just we're going to have you, I don't know, whatever other.
So
torture
basically,
device
what this is,
you get the metaphor.
So basically, what this is like a proposed contract for like I don't know, to get free money. But then when you start reading the terms and conditions and the very small fine print that you normally don't read because you just hit accept and continue, that's basically what this is. You know, I mean, of course, this is another analogy to kind of put in place.
Yeah, it's like oh cool, what's this? This is my terms of service for a loan, installment loan agreement. I'm not even joking right now. I'm actually reading an installment loan agreement.
I'm wondering if this is the reasons why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, this wasn't planned, but basically it's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna loan you $1,000. No, matter of fact, we're just gonna give it to you. And then down in the fine print, when you on page 37, you look in there, and oh, that is really some fine print. I should read that.
And just out of curiosity, I wonder if there's anybody that watches this or in the group page on Facebook or even on, that follow us on Twitter. Do you actually take the time to read all of the term and conditions before you sign on the dotted line?
Here's the thing. Almost nobody does. No. They know that. And they know that.
I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you've done it as well.
Here's the thing. They also write it and say, this pisses me off to no end.
What doesn't, Daniel?
Well, I like unicorns.
Ooh.
They're awesome. I like Tool. Tool's my favorite band. And actually, like Perfect Circle's probably right up there too. But I just
you got me hooked on Perfect Circle.
I just like Maynard. Maynard's got an amazing voice, and I sing like him sometimes, and it's fun. So can we get back to the fucking topic at hand, douchebag?
No.
So anyway, this is what pisses me off.
I'm being fidgety, man. I'm like playing with shit on your damn desk.
I know. Just don't touch the razor blades. I need those for later.
Ooh.
After the show.
Times are hard, huh?
Times are hard. And I can't.
You're so busy, you need a little pick me upper, don't you?
I can't even afford a clean razor blade. I'm using the ones that I cut drywall with.
I'm afraid to even touch it. I'm gonna have to get a tetanus shot after this is done.
So basically, what pisses me off about these contracts or these terms of service or even like this 1,400-page bill that is trying to be passed or however many pages it is. They write it in such a way that the common man can't understand it.
Yeah.
1,400 pages is a lot. Yes.
It's like decoding.
It's already going to dissuade a certain percentage of people from reading it just because of the sheer size.
Yeah.
But when you write it in such a way that even more people can't understand it, they don't understand legalese, they don't understand all these multisyllabic words and shit. Like that's going to dissuade even more people from reading it. So now you're left with a very, very small percentage that's even going to try to read it. Now you got even a less of a percentage of people that are going to try to read it and are able to understand it.
Right.
Okay. And then you probably have even smaller percentage of people that are going to try to read it, understand it, and actually take action based on their understanding. That's why it's written the way it's written.
Oh, yeah.
It's not because they're just
that's what our government
stupid
does.
Or trying to maybe they are trying to cover their ass also. But it's written that way because they know people aren't going to read it.
Nope. In this society, as fast-paced of a world we live in, nobody has time for that.
Let me get to the stuff we promised here. And then this is some of the stuff that was in this tweet thread that I wanted to cover. So here's case in point number 1. And I'll continue to add to this tweet thread. So if you want to, like I said, follow us over on Twitter. And
why don't you put this over here on the main screen?
That's what I was trying to remember what button it was while I was talking. All right, so basically, case in point, from this article here from Fox News, the quote says, de Blasio tells CNN that, quote, the federal government needs to take over the supply chain right now. He specified the need for companies that make ventilators, surgical masks, and hand sanitizers to be taken over and to be made to work around the clock. Okay, so, the basic thing here is, how many people that are in this frenzy, in this tizzy, in this panic are going to look at that line who read Fox News and say, yeah, of course we need to do that. This is the time to do that. It's like when any other time these people are like, no, that's clearly an overreach of power. I'm pissed. I'm angry. But now they're in a panic. So they're willing to,
that's what we talked about earlier.
So I almost wonder how many people actually read that article and went, what the fuck No way. No. This is unacceptable. How many people are actually, in alignment with their principles and their values? And,
that shit goes out the window, dude. You know damn well that's what happens.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. And it's like, God, people, like all of a sudden we get in a slight panic, a slight issue around the world that we might need to actually be worried here. And, principles, what are those? So here's case in point number 2. President Trump says, quote, "I view the coronavirus pandemic in a sense as a wartime president." And he used this as justification to announcing that he was invoking the Defense Production Act, which was established in 1950 in response to production needs during the Korean War. A little more information on that for those who don't know. This act authorizes requisition of property, force industry to expand production and supply of basic resources, imposes wage and price controls, settles labor disputes, controls consumer and real estate credit, establishes contractual priorities, and allocates raw materials. That's just a small portion of what that act does.
Yep.
Like when you hear that read out loud, what does that sound like to you? Like communist China, maybe? like straight up national, like Nazi Germany. Complete nationalization of industry. Like that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, I mean, for those that aren't familiar with it, some people may just dismiss it because they just don't understand what the properties are to the Defense Production Act.
Yeah.
So if it's something that you haven't really heard, which a lot of us haven't because that was established back in the 50s, everybody all of a sudden now is probably Googling the hell out of what that means or what it's for.
And this is something that these guys do a lot too, as far, not only do they make the legalese of the contracts and all the documentation is just unwieldy, but they also create these names, Defense Production Act. Well, who wouldn't be against defending our production? Like, who wouldn't be against that? Like the Patriot Act, when they decided to just take away all of our surveillance rights or all of our privacy rights.
Yep.
The Patriot Act, like anybody who's against the Patriot Act is that
it's a play on words is all it is. It's something that sounds wonderful.
It sounds amazing.
Patriotic. It sounds like it's going to defend us.
Right. And it's always this kind of flowery language that makes people go, yeah, that's a good idea. And that's pretty much the extent of it. They listen to that and they're like, oh, that's I'm up for that. I'm for that. Because they automatically, without reading it, without studying it, without researching it, they automatically overlay their own understanding of what those words mean to them. Not realizing that those words mean also what these guys actually mean it as.
Right.
So
it's funny because if you actually go into social media and you hear people, like if you see CNN or Fox or whomever actually talk about this, it's funny because it's like everybody has their own definition in the comment section of what that act is.
Yeah.
Talking about the Patriot Act or the Defense Act, and then you start to read and you're like, does anybody really have any idea what this means? Because I'll be the first to tell you. When I first heard it, I had to Google it because I didn't know. This is something that was enacted back in the 50s. So naturally, I'm going to Google it to see what I find out. But I just found that it was interesting that when you go through the comments, everybody had their own definition of what that meant.
Yeah.
So really, there was no underlying real definitive or clear, and everybody was kind of on the same page mentality, when they're kind of giving their own, explanation as far as what it is. So it's rather interesting.
So then you look at this topic I was talking about the other day. Or no, I wasn't talking about the other day. I was talking about it earlier in the show. The guy the pastor, right, and the people that were calling him out and everything else. And I started asking people who claim to be Christians and were calling this guy out for what he was doing. And I'm like, you guys, have you even read the book? Like literally, have you even read the book? I mean, the book is very clear on what to do during these times. Yeah. And I quoted like 3 or 4 lines of scripture. I made a post about it in the Facebook group for those who haven't seen it yet. But I'm legit trying to figure this out. Like there's actual scripture that backs up what I'm trying to say. There's actual scripture that backs up what this guy is doing. Right. And it's like, listen, I don't agree with him either. I don't think he should be doing it, but I don't care. I care. That's not the right phrase. What it is I feel like he as an individual should be allowed to make that decision. Mm-hmm. The people who go to his church as individuals should be allowed to make the decision about whether or not to go.
But it's almost as if the government is taking that right away.
Well, not yet, but people are calling for it.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. It's scary to know that we're that close from having our rights completely stripped of us.
Right. So basically that defense law, it was laws and acts and regulations like this. I'm reading from my Twitter tweets here. It's laws, acts, and regulations like this which have been written into law decades ago that will be used once the perfect opportunity comes along. Remember, never miss an opportunity to exploit a crisis. That's the politician's pledge. Now, Governor Cuomo, in a press conference, he says I heard him say this during a press conference, and it's funny because I clicked the live feed, and it just so happened that a few seconds later he said this, and I didn't watch anymore. I was just like, I just happened to catch this line, and it was perfect. He says, yes, it's an assertion of government power on private sector companies, but so what? This is a national emergency. This is the attitude that our politicians are coming at this with. Mm-hmm. So what? What are you going to do? You going to sue me? I got 1,000 laws behind me backing me up on this. I got a ton of lawyers, politicians. I got the police force backing me up on this. What are you going to do about it? Basically, it feels like he's being very confrontational to the people, saying, you know what? Screw you. It's a national emergency. I do what I want. You know, It's like, dude,
it's like a sense of entitlement that because, like you said, it's a national emergency. So I'm going to say what I want and do what I want, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. So that's
almost kind of borderline abuse of a power. So
we were going to talk about this one too, and I need to remember to bring up your article from this. But on the idea of giving everybody $1,000 check every month, I added to this thread and said every bit of the government paycheck posturing is nothing more than our quote unquote leaders scrambling to find a Band-Aid capable of holding the country's collective head on, a head that's been decapitated for over 100 years. That money was never theirs to quote decide on in the first place. So, yeah, fun stuff. I've actually had people. I've been getting in arguments with people where they're.
Imagine that.
No.
You don't get into arguments online, do you?
Somebody was sitting there talking about. Well, it was my money to begin with. I was just giving it back to me. I'm like, no, dude, you have no idea. This was never nobody's money. This wasn't even money in the first place. This didn't exist. They're printing it for you to have.
Yes.
There you go. Anthony gets it. So which one was it that I needed to click?
There's several of them. Did you want to talk about the two different strands of, the article that I read? It wasn't an article. It was actually a post from a nurse. Or did you want to hop right into the...
I will. I just want to stay kind of on a thread as we're moving through this.
Okay. We can start with the first one. Or
was this the one with the...
I think it is. And I'll let you kind of set this up in what we're about to discuss as far as why the stimulus package has been delayed.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're talking about the $1,000 checks that they're sending out. But, again, as we're talking about these bills, we're talking about the how they write all these extra things into them. Right. How they put out these huge, long, multi-series novella type. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so this is from The Blaze. The headline says Democrats push for environmental measures and increased union power in coronavirus stimulus bill, stalling progress. So help me out here. Okay, so negotiations over an economic stimulus bill to ease the pain of Americans and businesses caused by coronavirus-related shutdowns across the country are not going well, at least partially, because Democrats are hoping to leverage the crisis to get some unrelated reforms passed. And this is what we've been talking about the whole show. So here we go. Here are some of the items on the Democratic wish list over which they choose to block this legislation last night, said Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Tax credits for solar energy and wind energy, provisions to force employers to give special new treatment to big labor, and listen to this, new emissions standards for the airlines. Are you kidding me? Democrats won't let us fund hospitals or save small businesses unless they get to dust off the Green New Deal. That's fun. That's so much fun. This is what Democrats torpedoed the rescue package for. This will go down as one of the most cynical, disgusting, malevolent actions in history. Will it? Will it? Will it? Because this is the same process, same routine, same just played out episode we've seen time and time again. Millions are losing their jobs while they play these games. Again, like I said, political posturing. Both sides are doing the same shit, I think. Yeah. I've seen articles from both sides of, the Democrats are trying to do this and the Republicans are trying to do this, and they're...
Well, I think it's a situation, kind of hear me out on this, is where Trump is in a situation where he wants to help the American people. But I think he also realizes, too, that he's going to have to probably come off of some things in order for that to happen, which in the Republicans' eyes is not going to look good. And for the Democrats, they're going to look at this as a big win. So here we have two sides struggling for power on how they want to get this deal done. But it's coming at the cost of American lives because of this coronavirus. It's coming at the cost of people not getting the financial help that they need from small business, big business, and somewhere in between. This is one of the reasons why I hate our government so bad. I hate it. This needs to be a situation where it's strictly about this is what I don't understand. This is a very simple concept. Get the money to the American people. There should not be any kind of yes, bipartisan, but to what? There shouldn't be any other stuff added to this bill.
Yeah.
That's all other things that need to be done at a later date. Let's focus on the American people. Let's focus on the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors, the supplies, things like that. But they're not doing it.
No.
That's what frustrates so many people. It's not even the stimulus package itself as far as the money concerned. It's the fact that it's taken as long as it is because of the bullshit that people are wanting to add to this bill just to get it through. And the Democrats know that they have Trump by the balls. They know this. And what's going to happen is if Trump and the Republicans, if the Republicans block this bill, everybody's going to hate the Republicans.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because of the provisions of what's in this deal. Now, if they pass it, they're going to be like, Trump finally caved in and, he's going to support the Democrats and this, that, and the other. Well, that's fine. But all of a sudden, we're back in the politics side of things.
Yeah.
We're not looking at this as a health crisis situation.
Which is what they're pretending like they're caring about.
And that's one of the reasons why I really honestly don't think our politicians really, if there was ever a time where you wanted to see your politicians, if you think that they ever give a shit about you, they don't.
Yeah.
They absolutely don't care. This is personal. We know this with Nancy Pelosi and Schumer because they hate Trump. We all know this.
It reminds me of this. I've been using a circular saw all day, and I just sliced like the lower part of my arm, just like right off, and I'm gushing blood everywhere. And our politicians are standing there going, "Oh my God! We need to help you. We need to help you now."
But first,
we need. I'll go get the tourniquet, and Mr. Republican guy, you go get ice or whatever whatever equipment they need.
Right.
And they go run off and do it. And they're in the bathroom, searching through the bathroom cabinet looking for things, and they find the bandages real quick. They find the tourniquet. They find the things they need, and they're standing there going, "Wait a minute. Well, before we do this, we need to agree to, some other things too, and like 3 hours later, like I'm still out there going, holding my arm, and they're still back in there going, we really care about this guy. I think, don't we? Wait, what were we in here discussing again? Why are we holding these things again? $1,000 checks. There was a meme that basically laid just that out. I saw where somebody's coming to the what were they doing? They were saying, "Hey, we got all these provisions for this and this and this," and the guy's like, "Oh, is that all supposed to help the COVID-19?" They're like, "COVID-19."
Well, and that's just it though.
What they were
there's so much that's in this bill. That it doesn't make any sense. You have a lot of people looking at the bill like, what does this have to do with COVID-19?
Right. Nothing.
It doesn't.
Not a damn thing. Let's head over to the chats here. It looks like we've lost everybody. Although Rebecca did, she popped in. She said, I didn't know y'all had a Twitter. Nice, I'll follow. Hey, if you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm pretty active over there, and I'm a little bit meaner, I'd say, over there than I am during the Facebook group. So you just be aware of that. Not a lot. I don't.
I have my spurts of where I get on Twitter.
I don't call people names, and I still follow the rules of the Facebook, but I am a little more snarky because everything's a little bit more short, and I just don't got time for all the extras.
Point. Yeah.
Anyway, so if we're saying anything it's hitting home with you guys, and you agree with or disagree with, maybe we're crazy, maybe we're completely out of line here. I don't know, but I mean, if there's something that you're hearing that we're saying that we're just completely full of shit, hey, let us know so we can look into it. But
so how's your quarantine going?
Well, we'll definitely get to that. I want to continue on this thread here. We got a lot to cover. Sorry, we got a lot to cover. So back to the thread. Case in point: Nancy Pelosi worked to scupper the Phase 3 coronavirus relief package on Sunday after Majority Whip James Coburn told caucus members last week that the bill was, quote, a tremendous opportunity to restructure things to fit our vision.
Boom, right there.
That's exactly what we've been talking about. That's exactly, and
how do Democrats not see this?
Hell, I put that in there 2 days ago before we started. It's like, no, this was Democrats that are saying this.
That's what I'm saying. How do Democrats, you mean liberals,
the rank and file? Okay,
how does the Democratic Party, the people that support Democrats themselves, how do they not see this?
Yep. Exactly.
This is pure motive. This has got nothing to do with the well-being of the American people. This has everything to do about what they want to get out of this bill because it's a crisis situation.
Exactly right. Okay, another case in point. Attorney General Bill Barr warned hoarders of medical equipment on Monday at the White House that the federal government had the power to seize their goods thanks to an executive order signed by President Donald Trump. We just talked about that, the Defense Act. So this article says, quote, if you have a big supply of toilet paper in your house, this is not something that you have to worry about. But if you are sitting on a warehouse with surgical masks, you will be hearing a knock on your door, said Barr. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe for now you can justify, taking people's surgical masks and stealing their property and just outright violating their property rights. But
seems like liberty goes right out the window.
It's like the old idea about the camel getting his nose under the tent. Once he gets his nose under the tent, that camel's coming in, baby.
Yeah.
He's coming in. And just like that, more freedom's gone at the stroke of a pen. Yeah. Will we get this back when it's over? Well, history suggests we won't.
No.
Again, think about the income tax bill that was passed during World War II, where we're still paying income tax, even though it's unconstitutional by all
by all accounts.
Yeah. And what was the other thing? The Patriot Act we keep bringing up. Those are pretty high level, noticeable times that this has happened.
And people think this is free money. What they don't understand is at some point, in some way, you're going to have to pay this stimulus money back to the government.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be paid back, and it may not be paid back directly like out of our paychecks, but it is going to come out of it in terms of our.
We might get less back on our taxes.
Our purchasing power. Maybe it'll be less in our taxes. It'll definitely be.
It'll come some way.
I read somewhere. I forgot. I forgot to add this to this as well. They're talking about, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. Okay, Listen, as confusing as this blockchain Bitcoin shit sounds to you when I try to describe it, this shit was so convoluted. This was like a whole nother level. Like Bitcoin
was some murky water to kind of navigate through,
Dude, the way Bitcoin works was like I could graph that out on a one sheet piece of paper and show you exactly what's going on.
Right.
This here, whatever they were doing something where I am gonna butcher the crap out of this, so bear with me because I don't even remember what it said, but I do distinctly remembering the idea of two $1 trillion coins, two coins that were worth $1 trillion. They were going to mint them and then give them to somewhere between the Fed and the Treasury. They were going to move them around, and then once the coins were minted by the Treasury, they were going to give them to the Fed, and the Fed was going to issue the money or something like that, and the money was going to go. It's like there's still no matter like I'm not seeing any originating source of value here where this money's coming from. No, the idea and this and I don't even know if that's going to happen. But it still is very important in showing you where these people's minds are at. Like what kinds of things they're trying to come up with to make this work. Can you imagine a coin says U.S. in God we trust, $1 trillion. It's a coin.
That's like, have you ever seen that $1 million, like, what was it? I guess, yeah. $1 million piece of paper is kind of like a dollar bill. And then it's got like Trump's face on it.
Oh, you're talking about the little. Oh yeah, they do that with all the presidents now.
Yeah, it's not
like
real.
play money. Yeah.
Well, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Basically, that's what this is, though.
I know.
Basically, that's exactly
it's like,
what this is.
Here's your coin.
Exactly. I could take
I'm gonna
anything.
write $1 trillion on this little coin.
And
God we
because,
trust, the seal, and
right.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
I have no idea if it's actually worth anything.
No, you know.
But because I told you that it is,
you know that
automatically
it's not.
is.
You know that it's not.
But I'm
you
telling
gave it
you
to
that
me.
it is.
Yeah, you're telling me that it is, and I know that it's not worth anything.
Right. But I swear up and down that it is.
And I swear
promise
up and
to
down
God.
that I promise to God too.
You don't believe in God. So
I don't care,
worry.
but I'm still promising anyway. My right hand is on that good book, and we're gonna promise the American people that this $1 trillion coin right here is worth $1 trillion. And because now we have all of a sudden we have $2 trillion in our account, we're gonna give that to you.
My
guys.
question is,
we're gonna give it to you guys.
If you put this in a Coke machine, are you going to get change back? That's a whole lot of fucking quarters, people.
There should probably be fine print on the back of the quarter that says, "Please do not put this in a Coke machine. You will not get your.
You'll get snacks for life.
You will bankrupt the Coca-Cola company if you do.
You just bought Coca-Cola, is what you did.
All right. So basically, okay. So we had some other articles that we wanted to cover here. I think you kind of get the point. we're going to keep covering these things. Well, I'm going to continue to keep adding them to that thread. And if you guys happen to hear of any other stories that I'm missing, because I can't possibly keep up with it all.
There's so many out there, dude.
Email me. I will try to, I'll try to get it down.
Well, the
into
problem
a nice...
is there's so many stories that are constantly being pushed.
Yeah.
Like if we get a story from someone tomorrow and we don't do a live show until Wednesday, that's old news, dude. I mean, now we can get a story from tomorrow. And
hey, pop up that Facebook Live app and just talk to the people about it. Do it.
Idea.
I mean, you can do it. I can do it.
I
trust you.
From my PJs.
Do it from your PJs.
I don't wear PJs, but we'll work it out.
Do it from those PJs.
I'm literally gonna do a live stream where it's just my nakedness.
All right. So, which
Just
article was it you wanted to
exuding.
cover? You recognize them better than I do here. This one.
No.
This one.
That
That's the one
one
about the
was
different threads.
Yeah, I don't know if you care to read that one or if
Yeah. Let's see what we got here.
this was a post that would make.
Oh Jesus! It said read every word. I'm not reading every word.
Well, you might want to.
Okay. So basically, this idea
It's
is
not that long.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I can read at least most of it here. It's not bad. I'll I will read you guys a bedtime story. Please don't phase out
And
on
if
me
there's
yet. This will be
anybody in
very
the medical
interesting.
profession that can back this, what we found, we would love to hear from
That
you.
would be wonderful. Please let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and read this, especially for the podcast listening audience. If you are watching at home, you can read along with me if you want, and we can just make like a
session?
Pee Wee Herman. Like, and whenever I say the word COVID-19, you guys scream. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. That's irritating as hell.
I might.
Probably why the show's not on, or maybe it's because he's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Anyway, sorry. So what you don't understand. Please read every word. Feeling confused as to why coronavirus is a bigger deal than seasonal flu? Well, here it is in a nutshell. I hope this helps. Feel free to share this to others who don't understand. It has to do with RNA sequencing. For example, genetics. Okay, so seasonal flu is an all-human virus. The DNA, RNA chains that make up the virus are recognized by a human immune system. This means that your body has some immunity to it before it comes around each year. You get immunity two ways: through exposure to a virus or by getting a flu shot. Okay, that makes sense so far. I'm with them so far. All right, novel viruses, or as we're talking about the novel coronavirus, come from animals. The World Health Organization tracks novel viruses in animals, sometimes for years, watching for mutations. Usually these viruses only transfer from animal to animal, pigs in the case of N1H1, birds in the case of Spanish flu. But once one of these animals, their grammar's terrible, I'm trying to get around it. But once one of these animal viruses mutates and starts to transfer from animals to humans, then it's a problem. Why? Because we have no natural or acquired immunity. The RNA sequencing of the genes inside the virus isn't human, and the human immune system doesn't recognize it, so we can't fight it off. At least not yet. So now, sometimes the mutation only allows transfer from animal to human. For years, it's only transmission from its infected animal to a human before it finally mutates so that it can now transfer human to human. Once that happens, we now have a new contagion phase. And depending on the fashion of this new mutation, that's what decides how contagious or deadly it's going to be. All right, so N1H1 was deadly, but it did not mutate in a way that was deadly as the Spanish flu. Its RNA was slower to mutate, and it attacked its host differently, too. Fast forward. Now, here comes this coronavirus. It existed in animals only for nobody knows how long, but one day at an animal market in Wuhan, China, in December 2019, it mutated and made the jump from animal to people. At first, only animals could give it to a person, but here's the scary part. In just 2 weeks, it mutated again and gained the ability to jump from human to human. Scientists call this quick ability slippery. That sounds like a very scientific term. So this coronavirus, not being any form human virus, whereas we all have some natural or acquired immunity, took off like a rocket. And this was because humans have no known immunity. Doctors have no known medicines for it. And it just so happens that this particular mutated animal virus changed itself in such a way that it caused great damage to human lungs. That's why coronavirus is different from seasonal flu or H1N1 or any other type of influenza. This one is slippery, and it's a lung eater, and it's already mutated again. And that's how, so that we now have two strains to deal with, strain S and strain L. Now, this is the second time I've heard of this, but I hadn't really looked into it, which makes it twice as hard to develop a new vaccine. We really have no tools in our shed. With this, history has shown that fast and immediate closings of public places has helped in the past pandemics. Philadelphia and Baltimore were reluctant to close events in 1918, and they were the hardest hit in the U.S. during the Spanish flu. Factoid: Henry VIII stayed in his room and allowed no one near him till the Black Plague passed. Honestly, I understand him so much better now, he says. Just like us, he had no tools in his shed except social isolation. And let me end by saying right now, it's hitting older folks harder, but this genome is so slippery. If it mutates again, and it will, who is to say that what it will do next? Be smart, folks. Hashtag flatten the curve. Stay home, folks. All right. So when you read that, what did you think? Did any of that hit you like, oh, this is, wow, I didn't know that, or anything like that?
Well, when I first read it, I was like, okay, well, I want to get on to the internet and find out if there's any truth behind this, and come to find out that there is.
There is.
So there is a lot of truth behind this. The only thing that kind of worries me about this are people who are currently dealing with just a regular seasonal cold.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the flu, just the cold. That's what I've had. People who have had the cold, the flu, or anything that's around that parameter, if you're out in public, I mean, it could be a sinus infection, an ear infection. Your immune system weakens. You become more susceptible of catching the coronavirus and it wreaking havoc on your body. And we all know what it's currently doing. So if, say, in the next day or two that I happen to catch the coronavirus, my likelihood of survival of the coronavirus is not very good. If anything, it's probably 35-40%, because my immune system is already shot because I've been fighting off a cold.
Right.
It can't handle the onslaught of a virus that does not. We don't know the origin of what it is. We know that it does attack the lungs. But here's the thing. If you're a smoker like I am, and if you just got through a cold like I did, dude, I'm just like, I really should. I mean, in all sense and purposes, I should be in isolation probably for the next 2 weeks, but I'm still working. I'm still hanging out with you guys. I'm still doing.
If it helps, I haven't really gone anywhere.
No. But what I'm saying
we
is,
haven't gone
that
anywhere.
That's the difference. Is what I don't think people quite understand is that if you had even so much as ear infection, sinus infection, head cold, it does not matter.
It's the underlying conditions that compound what's going on.
Now,
yeah, there was a friend of ours that did have it. She's good now. She was on a ventilator for like 3 days, and she already has asthma, and her immune system might be a little compromised because she just got off of a huge marathon of having 7 children. So, but. Wow. It was pretty scary for her for a little while, but she's made it out. This is the only person I've known that's actually had it to date so far.
All I'm saying is that if you've got any kind of cold of some sorts, just stay home. It's not going to hurt to stay home for a few days. Get better, be better, and just be mindful of when you are out and about, just to kind of wipe things down and do what is in the best interest that you think that you need to do for yourself, is all I'm saying.
Right. Yep, that's absolutely right. And I mean,
the last one is just jaw dropping.
Okay, if you think it would help, and if you think we should do this, we could definitely work on doing a live show from your house to my house. I can give you a couple lights. You could get the second green screen, and I could still put you on here with a nice little background and everything. I could almost even make it look like you're actually here if it's done right, but we don't have to do all that.
But I just want to come on the show from like here up naked.
Okay.
Would you be okay with that?
Hey, if you do you, man. You do you. I mean, if you're going to be in isolation.
I can't say that we're going to gain subscribers. We might lose a few, but hey, anything's worth a shot.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. So this last article that you wanted to cover here was...
It's very similar to the other one that we read. This is kind of... I think there was a little bit more of what was in the stimulus bill than what was maybe suggested. And what the hell?
Oh,
why are you on Wish? I've got one for you.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to grab one because I've never picked one before. I was just trying to do that while you were discussing this one here. Let's see. So report, Nancy Pelosi had a, quote, wish list of unrelated demands for coronavirus bill, killing the bipartisan agreement. And, right. Man, you know what? They used to show how many viewers we had at a time.
They don't care anymore.
On here, like collective over all the platforms, but I don't see it no more.
I'm going to send this to you on Messenger.
Okay. That'll be fine. So, report. Nancy Pelosi had wish list of her unrelated demands for coronavirus bill, killing bipartisan agreement. Let's see. Okay, so apparently she's why the Democrats suddenly opposed an emergency coronavirus relief bill that had bipartisan support in the Senate. So according to Ben Williamson, the chief of staff for Representative Mark Meadows, Pelosi returned to Washington, D.C. on Sunday with a wish list of sudden demands. Let's see. I just want to get to what the demands are. What does she say? What does she want? What's in this reported laundry list of new demands that Nancy Pelosi had? I enjoy reading articles on the fly. Okay.
My phone's clearly not cooperating.
It's all right. You'll figure it out. What's her demands? It just says she has some demands, but it's not saying what the demands are. Come on, Blaze, let's get to it. Why you got to bury the lead? What's wrong with you guys? Ain't you guys learned how to write articles? Anyway. Okay, it's well established that they'd come to an agreement, but Pelosi, it said the same thing again. Boy, this is some terrible reading. They claim Republicans attempted to insert a $500 billion slush fund into the bill. I wouldn't be surprised. Everybody's trying to do it. The notion that we have time to play games here with the American economy and the American people is utterly absurd, he said in a fiery speech on the Senate floor Sunday night. You didn't even tell me. I can't believe you just wasted my time with that article, Anthony. How rude.
What?
It didn't even say what the demands were.
I thought it did.
Yeah, it did not.
My bad.
It did not. But basically on the thread that I was talking about earlier, we have a. While you're looking, it's fine.
No, I've got it.
No, go ahead.
It's not sending it for some reason. I don't know why.
So the government has. This is from a friend of the show here, James Fox Higgins. He's one of our Aussie friends. It says, so the government has canceled my entire industry and destroyed most of my livelihood after allowing a foreign virus to put us all in lockdown because of their evil adherence to globalist principles. But don't panic. Stimulus for everyone. And the tax office is not taking any calls. The welfare office, who administered these stimulus packages, aren't even allowing you to dial in at the moment. And their website is almost completely unusable, and during a global pandemic where we're told to stay home. They're insisting that to complete a claim, you need to come to their offices, which they share with Medicare, which will undoubtedly be major hubs for the spread of this virus. I'm patient and peaceful man, but good Lord, if this incompetence affects enough people for much longer, I really worry for the civil peace of our country. At least I have some tomatoes and radishes growing. Australia is about to become an unlivable hellscape, and we nationalists have been warning everyone for a long time now. Stay safe, folks. God be with us. Yeah, this is something that's been affecting most people worldwide. It's not great. We're going to break open this what the fuck is that on Wish here in just a moment, as soon as I get off my bum here and bring up Telegram. All right. This is the beauty of doing live shows. We get to do things on the fly, and that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. But guess what? Y'all just going to have to be patient. Wait for us. Come on, Telegram. Open up now, Telegram. Hey, I don't care about that. Here's the photo. Okay.
Look all the way to the right.
Go ahead. Hold on. Let me go ahead and pop that on up over here. Will it pop up over here? Yeah, there we go. Number 5. Mambo number 5. Oh, we forgot. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck is that on Wish? And today on What the Fuck Is That on Wish? What? It's okay. I'm trying to figure out a best way to describe this for our podcast listening audience.
Tongue cleaner, maybe? I don't know.
It looks like a little inverted pacifier that you stick it against your lips and stick your tongue in it, and then maybe suck on it for pressure or something. You stick it in your mouth. What is this? Did it come with a description?
No, that's everything that you see that's on there. That's all it said.
It's $1. It's like this little plastic piece, kind of like I said.
There's no description at the bottom or the top.
No, none. It's $1.
And then if you look all the way to the right, you see a booty. That was the next thing that was on the wish list.
Oh, yeah, there's a nice little booty sticking out there. There's always a booty in every one of these things.
I just think it's funny you see the tongue and then the booty. The tongue and the booty.
Maybe that's maybe what you're...
I'll do anything for tacos, by the way.
Tacos, anything for tacos.
That's right.
Sorry, folks. We'll go. We'll find better ones, I promise. Jeez.
That was a pretty good one.
That was a weird one.
I just couldn't figure it. Well, you got tired of me posting or sending you stuff that was underwear related.
I know. It's like
so I found something that was more above the chest level, and it's the tongue.
It's much better. It's much better. I do enjoy looking at things that are like, what? Wait, and here's the great thing of this is that people come up with this stuff and other people buy it. and it's like such strange shit. And it's like there's a market out there for about anything if you market it just right. And you I don't know. That's not very good marketing. I need to at least know what the purpose of this thing is. Like, what am I getting out of this? But
I don't know.
Then again, for $1, you know, maybe does it make it look like you're sticking your tongue out at people? But
maybe it sucks your tongue into there, and then you pull it out, and then you clean it.
I know what it is.
This is like a phobismus, but
I know what this is. Yeah. It's so that during the coronavirus, you can stick your tongue out at people without worrying about catching the virus on your tongue. It's like a face mask for your lips.
I'm reaching for the stars, but damn, dude, you got to go beyond the galaxy for that one.
I like to reach. I like to reach.
Or reach around, whatever works.
All right. So as far, I mean, you did. We got a couple minutes left over. You started to ask me about how my whole
how's your
quarantine's going. You know, quite frankly, quite honestly,
I know we all know that you're busy. We know.
Yeah, I mean it's busy to the point of overwhelm still.
But you're probably glad that you're getting the 2 weeks. Now, my question to you is, do you think that they're going to shut you guys down in July for 2 weeks, or do you think you guys will probably steam right through the holiday?
Well, we're probably still open then. I have no idea because we're retooling for a new product to come through there. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. We're retooling for a new product to come through, and a lot of that stuff was scheduled to come in during those times. Now, I don't know how much of the equipment was coming from China and how much of that supply chain.
You got to say it right.
China. I don't know how much of that stuff was being delayed.
No.
China. It's my favorite piece.
Oh, I got to send you this. We got to play this. Hang on a second. Let me find it. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but if you hang on, I know who I send it to, but I'm going to forward it on to you. Hang on a second. There it is.
So we also do have another
Okay, check your Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Facebook Messenger. You're sending me stuff.
Okay, before you play it, bring it up over here so the folks can see it.
The folks.
Yeah, now play it. Make it big. Make it big. Make it big.
Make it big. Make it big. Make it the biggest. Make it the biggest video you've ever seen.
All right.
This is the biggest.
This is great. I love this.
It's going to be huge.
You'll notice I was not here over the weekend. I think this is the part that we really need to take personal responsibility for. Saturday, I had a little low-grade fever.
I love it. He was like, I'm out.
He's like, wait a minute, hold up. That's great.
A little humor to kind of, to go with all the crap that's currently going on in the world.
Let me give y'all a little sneak peek here. This is something that we've been working on. Not me and Anthony, but me and another. Not Lee.
Oh.
Me and another guy. He's going to illustrate. Guy by the name of Juan Garcia. He's an amazing artist. He's trying to find a way to kind of get his artwork out there in the world. He's a younger guy, and he did a fantastic job. I did nothing but kind of describe this character that I wanted to have. And I've been kind of dropping hints every now and again, and we're slowly but surely working on this. Well, we now officially have a at Woke Adventures Twitter with Jesse Thinskin, and this is the character here. For those in the podcast listening audience, Jesse is a spork. Jesse is not a male nor female. He doesn't
identify as anything.
I say he because it's such a pain in the ass to try to talk without those pronouns. So just for discussion purposes, I'm gonna identify Jesse as a he, but Jesse could be a girl. Jesse could be, but anyway, Jesse Thinskin is gonna go on some woke adventures into the world of the politically correct. This character looks awesome. We had the first drawing that we came up with. We loved the spork idea, but the eyes were just
the two.
The eyes were weird. The eyes were just kind of
Japanese,
almost. They were almost alien.
No, it's anime. What is it called?
Anime.
Is it anime?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have the real buggy eyes.
Yeah, he does a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that kind of creepy.
So this guy here had more creepy, kind of alien-looking eyes. But then when he came up with this, I told him we need to make those eyes look more innocent. This is literally what I told him. I said we need him to look more innocent, more naive, more curious about the world, and just like a kid, like an image, like a kid, So we've got Jesse Thinskin. This is probably the first and probably the last concept drawing for Jesse. And I think we're going to move forward with this character in the new stories coming up. And we've already got a website, but I don't have anything set up for it just yet. But I have purchased the website. I've got the Twitter account. We've got the email list set up. That's another thing I've been working on in the meantime of everything else. But all of this stuff, I will keep you guys informed of it as well. It's going to kind of be its own separate thing.
Yep.
But it's going to be kind of tied in under the Unframe of Mind umbrella.
It'll be woke on our page.
Yeah. We'll have a link to it as well on our page as that comes up. So if you guys want to follow along with that for now, the best thing you can do is head over to Woke Adventures on Twitter and just follow. I don't have any followers just yet. This is literally the first I'm telling anybody about this other than me. Like, nobody knows this account exists just yet. It's only got one tweet, and you're looking at it. So
we've had several people in the group chat, or not the group chat, but the group page on Facebook wanting us to do more skits. There was one where they want us to fight over toilet paper. There's another one where somebody mentioned us dressing up as old people and trying to get into some of the stores to get stuff. I know you mentioned a couple to me the day I came over and kind of helped you with the studio.
Yeah, we do need to do those pretty sooner than later, so they're still relevant.
Well, like I've told people, if you want to see a part 2 of the Corona commercial, help us to get to 50,000 views on the first one, and we'll do another one. So
50,000, that's asking a lot.
No,
we're already at 17.
Yeah.
No, okay, all right, yeah. That'll be fine.
I mean, shit's going to cost you, folks. We ain't doing shit for free no more.
It does take a lot of work to do those. I mean, that little coronavirus video, since I'm not like a pro editor, takes me a little while to do them. It takes a while of setting up. We had to ask about getting the equipment we needed. We had to go set up a spot for it. Then I had to take those videos, import them in, and I had to take and
it was all done within like 3 hours, wasn't it?
I mean, after everything was collected and we were here, it took about 3 hours, maybe 4, but that was just for 30 seconds of video.
Mm-hmm.
So it does, just to be aware, it does take a long time. Now, there is something else we're working on as well so that you guys can help donate to our show and help fund us on a monthly basis from anywhere from $3 all the way up to $250 if you so choose. And I'm working on some sketches for that so that each tier has its own special badge that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just having fun drawing. I've had a lot of free time, but I've still been busy. I've got things to do, is what I'm saying.
You drew a brain that turned into a tongue.
Yeah, this is stuff.
What the fuck, dude?
This is stuff that I would not normally have time to do if we didn't have the time off. But I'm still busy.
Really scared to see what you could do with actual free time.
I know.
That haunts me.
I know.
I have nightmares about that.
You're like, where are you? When are you doing this? When do you fucking sleep? So all that what I just said was kind of to let you know. Sorry about that. Was just to kind of let you know. When I say I'm busy, it's not because I'm busy with things that I had before this. It's because when I have free time, I do fill it with stuff. I do have a whole backlog of ideas to do.
Plus, you got a family to run and take care of.
And
I mean, it's pretty admirable what you can do in the days that you're off.
Not to mention that I still have to get working on the Life Beyond series. We haven't forgot about that. That's my fault. It's been...
Well, that was just to give some people a little bit of an update on that. 2 videos I do know of will not air until June, and then another one with David Macy. We can schedule that for another time because originally I've been in contact with David, and the thought or the idea, and he did come through on his end as far as getting a location set up for us if we came out to Vegas. But unfortunately, because of the whole coronavirus, because of my vacation time is now not there because I've used it for the disaster and for other things that I've had going on.
Yep, and your ability to work the overtime.
Right. So everything has now been pushed out to next year for part 2 of his segment. There's other people that I've been in contact with that are supposed to be a part of this. But again, because of this whole coronavirus, it's got everything in there still right now.
As far as the intro, though, that's all on me. I'm trying to learn new techniques. I'm not a very good editor. I could find if somebody is a good editor and wants to help us out, please come help us out.
You're in touch with Shane.
Well, I mean, that I can not have to pay for. So somebody that's willing to become part of the team.
Here's the thing: is that I've got some great editing skills you've seen before in the past. The problem is I don't have the setup to be able to do it. So if you gave me like a week to put something together, if I had the software,
Yeah.
I could probably blow your freaking mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
it's just
I've
things
got
done
so
before
far
in the
is coming
past.
along. We picked the theme song for it and
Right.
everything, and I'm working on getting the whole thing timed to it and making it kind of more of a modern looking intro. You know, there's
Right.
like, what do they call them? Speed ramps and
Yeah.
stutters, and like I didn't even know what the vocabulary terms were for these effects until I started trying to figure out how in the hell are people doing this stuff. It's fun to learn, but it does take me a little extra time because it's not my.
Well, you have to remember
it's not
too,
my wheelhouse.
the video was shot in 4K.
I know
so-
that right there produced its own set of challenges. Good luck. And I apologize for anybody that's still watching. We're just talking shop right now. If anybody has any questions for us, feel free to throw them out there. I mean,
Well, it's just kind of
think
give a
I-
timeline of things that maybe
Yeah.
we haven't discussed or brought up because I've had some people like, hey, whatever happened to that whole Life Beyond series you guys were going to do? Well,
Yeah.
technically it started back when we had Enrique Tarrio because he was the first one we had on,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
and we'll have to like re-roll that into.
Well, the problem is we can't really do it because the video turned out to be choppy. Remember?
Oh,
The
right.
lagging
we'll
issues.
figure out.
So,
that.
anyways, no, it's just that's where we're at with the Life Beyond series. Everything's been kind of put on hold. I've talked to two of the people that we've already interviewed, and we want to schedule that to fall in line with other projects that they have going
Right, that
on.
makes sense.
Because
It's
both,
been a lot.
well, both the music video and then another situation that may actually happen with that. It's all going to depend on what happens with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Because if we're shut down through the summer, none of this is going to happen. None of it.
No.
So not to say that
does
it will.
Does
but
it feel a little bit sometimes to you, as it does to me, like we are trying to throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Like,
No, I
like,
think
'cause
we do.
We try so many things, and we are trying lots of different things.
Well,
I mean, the
people
format's
don't-
changed, the skits have changed. You know, the types of interviews we do have changed. We're trying to
we
figure out that
evolve.
thing.
I think we more or less evolved than
Yeah.
anything else.
Oh, definitely evolved
And
too. Yeah.
we're both very creative individuals. I think our problem is that we don't have the allotted time to really put the effort into the ideas that we have. We've talked about this before.
Yeah. So we got to like pick and choose.
Right. Well, we got to know what's going to
yeah,
stick.
what
The
we
whole
can-
theory of throwing spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
The coronavirus commercial, it stuck. You know,
stuck
it
pretty
did,
good.
It
It
did
stuck
very
pretty good.
well.
That was awesome.
So it's just, it's a hit or miss situation given our schedules. And again, if we had more of the time, and that's where we never ask anybody to donate. We never ask anybody for the financial support for the show. But if we did have the financial support,
Yeah, we
I
will
could
be.
ease off on the overtime. I can make myself more available
Right.
to do more skits, to do more stuff.
We
and-
will be once I get that set up, the subscribe star link. We'll be making it known that hey, we do have a way you guys can help support the show.
Well, and not only that,
obviously
too, but-
sharing,
right.
obviously sharing, commenting, rating, reviewing. Like those are some low cost, low investment type ways that you guys could help us in the meantime in growing. I've had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, I love the show. I absolutely love it. That you guys, I can't believe you guys aren't bigger. I can't believe, like, how are you guys doing this?
Well, you have
It's
to
like-
understand our market that we're currently in is saturated. And if you look at it now,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's sitting at home, this is a prime time for us to be on every single night.
Yeah, everybody's putting up. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
but everybody is putting up stuff. Now, what people have to remember, too, is that, again,
and less people are watching.
Right. Well, this is true. But with the studio, everybody's like, well, you guys must be doing pretty good for yourself if you guys are able to afford a new studio. No.
Nope, we're working our
It's-
asses off,
It's
and I'm getting a lot of the stuff for cheap or free.
That's what I'm saying. All of this it comes out of the pockets, not of you, but of us, and the sweat equity. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's basically it's labor for free.
You know what's
And-
fucked up?
What?
I can't remember if I told you this or not. After I built that door, after I finally stopped searching for a
He
goddamn
finds a
door,
door.
I spent forever looking for a door for the studio. It needed to be a right-hand swing, 9-pane glass, because I needed a second window on the building, and it had to be X amount of inches wide, and I could not find it. I kept looking, kept searching. Finally, I was like, you know what? I need a door on this thing to move this project forward. I built my own door. Went through all that time. It looks beautiful.
It does. It's really
It looks
nice.
great. I'm happy that I did it. I'm glad. It looks better than what that door would have looked like. But literally about 3 or 4 days after I installed the door and finally got the lock on it and was able to lock that shop up for the first time, found a door. Exactly the specifications I'm looking for. 9-pane glass, right-hand swing, 32 inches wide, and it was $40. So
Yeah,
it
but I
was
mean, if
actually
you-
the same amount of money I spent on that door.
But that's a custom door.
Yeah.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
hand-built,
I'm happier
so
with that door if I had to choose.
You
but
can't put a price on something that's
all the
hand-built
time
like
I
that,
spent
yeah.
on that door is time that I could have been spending on other.
And people don't realize
things.
the blood splatters that I'm having to cover up with mud and everything else. I walked in there and I'm like, fuck, dude, this looks like a murder scene.
He says, "Is this from your finger?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's from
I'm
my
like,
finger."
what the hell died in here? It looked like a murder scene. And he goes, I was like, is that from your finger? He goes, yeah. I was
Yep.
like, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm telling you, I hit it and started doing this, and it was everywhere. It was everywhere. All right, yeah. This has been a fantastic show. I'm done talking myself out. I'm gonna go and probably go back out in the shop now and work on some more.
I gotta go to work
He's going to
tonight.
work. I don't have to be to work in the morning, so I've been staying. I've been out there. There was a couple mornings I was out there till 1 o'clock in the morning, just doing shit. You know, put on a podcast.
I'd love to help you, man, but
No, you're fine.
I got to sleep during the day and
I-
work
I-
at night. I come out here on the weekends when I can to help you.
That's
So
all good, man. I put on a podcast. Hopefully by this weekend I'll be ready for some paint.
I'll
Or-
be out here
or real
or-
close.
Yeah, get with me on that. I'm trying to think of what my availability.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after the
Yeah.
show. Anyway, so y'all been watching the Unframe of Mind show where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. And we'll what's a good closing line?
Keep your pants dry and your dick wet.
Good